Right, let's take you now back to our top story and just get analysis on the EU-SA summit currently taking place in South Africa today. Of course, so we saw those visuals earlier on with President Cyril Ramaphosa, who will be co-chairing the summit in Cape Town. He will be joined by the European Commission President, Dr. Ursula von der Leyen, as well as European Council President Antonio da Costa. For more on this now, let's welcome Dr. Thelela Ngcetane-Vika. She is an international law, security studies and global governance expert from the Wits University School of Governance. A very good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time, ma'am, to the show. Of course, this summit does come amid geopolitical tensions and trade wars. Also centered amongst that is, of course, the Trump administration, bringing amongst that a number of uncertainty geopolitically. So let's discuss then what is likely to be at the top of the agenda during this EU-SA summit.
Thank you to you and all the viewers of SABC. Well, essential to the summit is going to be trade. Remember, the EU as a bloc trades a lot with South Africa, and at this critical moment, given Trump's era of tariffs and amongst others, it becomes critical for both the EU and South Africa to really solidify their relationship. And South Africa is one of the 10 countries globally that are trading with the EU. So it's a significant trade partnership. So no doubt there's that solidification, but also you see that there is some shift from the European Union to be more sort of embracing, in a way, cuddling, African states, and South Africa becomes critical in that regard.
And I mean, it also does come, after the war in Ukraine and Russia has gained a momentum in terms of developments there. South Africa has been very clear in terms of its stance and how it chooses, dialogue over anything else in terms of its posture to this particular war. Just talk to us about those dynamics at play, also given that, of course, the Ukrainian president, Vladimir Zelensky, will be coming to this country, we told, in April.
Yes. I mean, well, as you know, there's history between South Africa and Russia. I mean, during the Soviet Union, the struggle against apartheid and all forms of oppression in South Africa. So there's a historical context between the relationship, Russia and South Africa. But also you see some global geopolitical shifts, especially between the United States and Russia. President Trump sort of, warming towards Russia. And the invitation by the president of Zelensky is going to be an interesting one, how Russia may interpret that, or how will it be received in Kremlin in Russia. It's going to be very, very interesting. So that Russia-Ukraine war, hopefully they will find a deal, as we've been seeing the dynamics, even that meeting in the White House, but also ensuing events or some negotiations that are promising that they might find a deal. Good. We would want to live in a post-Cold War era, Second World War era, that's peaceful. These wars are just not good for global peace and security. So all of us, we should be rooting for a deal, but of course a deal that's fair to all parties.
Dr. Thelela, your line not that great there, but let's see if we can, soldier on by speaking around the deliberations that we might be hearing, this afternoon and during the course of the summit. We do know, of course, the important role, as you've said, the EU bloc does play in South Africa. Given the relationship that is currently on shaky ground between South Africa and the US, and just the contestation around the trade wars that we we are seeing, notwithstanding, of course, the European Union and Canada now, announcing counter tariffs in response to the United States enforcement of that 25% tariff on all imported steel and other forms of metal. How likely is this particular summit to be viewed in the sense, in terms of South Africa's stance, particularly as it attempts to reinvigorate and strengthen those ties with the EU?
Yes, I'm sorry for the line. I'm joining from the Commission for the Status of Women in New York. So I think where I am, it's a bit unstable. But whatever you can pick, hopefully would be good snippets. But anyway, EU and South Africa would be focusing on a number of key trade issues. Amongst others is the just energy transition. Remember, in the past few years, there's been that shift from coal to just energy. And South Africa is still in that phase. So it would be one of those key interests. And the United States under Biden were one of those countries who are going to be investing billions into the just energy transition. So was or will European Union. Of course, decarbonization is one of those, supply chains. So they are critical, and mining is always a critical element, and cooperation among health. And if anything, the COVID pandemic has told the world that you can no longer afford to work in silos. You are connected. You're a global community. So they will be strengthening that. And remember, in geopolitics, people can align with enemies of the other and sometimes align with friends.
Absolutely.
So there are no permanent friends here.
Absolutely, Dr. Thelela. Unfortunately, let's leave it there for now.